Now back to McGraw in the Morning on the Big 550 KTRS. This hour is presented by Collier and Thompson Kitchen and Bath. Visit them today at collierandthompson.com.
822 on the Big 550 KTRS. One of the great local writers here. He's so well known, worked for the Riverfront Times for well over 20 years. Bill, the first time, William Stage, the first time you came on the show, I think you were out promoting your book, Mountain City Chronicles. I think that might have been the first time we met.
That would be 20 years ago.
Was that 20 years ago? Okay,
Yeah.
then I was wrong then.
Probably, it might have been Fool for Life.
Maybe Fool for Life, yeah.
A comic memoir.
There you go. William Stage is our guest. And, William, you have a brand new book out. First, let's talk about your book, Not Waving Drowning. Tell us about this one.
8 short stories that are all different. But they're common that they're set here in the metro area, all of them.
You call yourself a Bachelor of Philosophy.
Well, I don't call me that. I mean, that's my honorific from my college.
Not Waving Drowning. That's your new book, out now, bookstores everywhere, Amazon.com, right?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Any book signings we should tell you about?
Oh, you want to get that out of the way? Great.
Sure.
Saturday, May 4th, Big Sleep Books on Euclid Avenue in the Central West End from 1 to 3, May 4th. And then 2 weeks later, May 18th, Second Reading Bookstore in Alton, Illinois. Great little, right down by the river, great little place.
Beautiful. What's your favorite short story in this Not Waving Drowning?
Do
you have one?
Oh, yeah, I have a couple. But many years ago, about in the late 90s, there was a guy. All these stories are about people I've either known or heard about, or
made up,
or just simply seen.
Okay.
No, I mean
so this is all real stories.
There are some of them I've never met, but I've heard about them. Okay, so there was. I made up a story around him. I never met the guy.
Right. Okay.
But I made up a story around.
Drowning. Where'd that come from?
That's a poem by an English woman named Stevie Smith, written in the 50s. It's only 12 lines. And, it's been a rock band too, but the titles for me are the hardest thing. I'll work for a year, and I'll brainstorm for a year trying to think of a good title. And
right.
That one came because everybody in this book is in over their heads. They're either in trouble or they're causing trouble.
Kind of sounds like you a little bit.
A little bit.
You're not by. That's just who you are, right? You can't do anything else. You're a writer.
Well, I'm actually a process server too.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, you love to write. I mean, I don't know if you love it, but you just have to write.
Well, true. I've been a journalist for over 30 years, and I've written 9 books since 1989.
Right.
So, I mean, I do write. I'm enjoying right now not writing a book.
Not Waving Drowning. What's the website? Is there a website out there?
My name, www.williamstage.com.
Okay, good. Now, you're also part of World Book Night.
Right.
Tell us about this because this kicked off last night all around the country.
Right.
Curtis Sittenfeld was here in town along with my cousin JR at Mad Art Gallery, and they had a book signing and a nice conversation. And for those who came out, it was a great conversation by 2 great writers, and I am guilty. One of them is my cousin, so I'm a little biased. But it was 2. I think everybody truly enjoyed the conversation. But tell people what World Book Night is.
It's a nefarious plot to hand out great literature free of charge to random strangers on one particular evening, that being tonight.
You heard about this last year.
Right.
The day after it happened.
Yes, I did. I was in Subterranean Books in the Loop, and they told me what had happened the night before.
Right.
And I said, well, I really would like to do that. And they put me on their email list, and then a year went by, and I got the email, and I applied online, and then you're accepted, and then they give you a list of titles, and I think there are 32 titles.
32 titles that they picked.
And they say, okay, pick 3 that you think you want to hand out, and then we'll pick one of them for you. I picked Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I picked Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. And I picked The Tender Bar by J.R. Moringer. Hope I pronounced that right.
You got so far so good.
And they came back to me a couple weeks later and said, okay, you're giving out the Tender Bar.
Right.
And yeah, you'll pick up a box of these books at a particular time in the future.
Which was last night.
Right.
And so tonight, your goal, along with people all across the country who were accepted into this program, are going to go out and hand unsuspecting strangers a copy of the Tender Bar.
Yeah, isn't that great?
It's a great idea. I mean, they're going to hand out millions of books all across the country.
Right. And I'll be doing it here, and other people will be handing out other titles here. And then I guess in other cities, some of them are not big cities. Some of them are, cities I'd never heard of before.
Right.
Other people will be handing out those titles as well. Now, I do want to tell you there's a 500,000 books will be given out tonight.
500,000 books all around the country
and
will be given out.
But it goes...
Of these 30 titles.
Yes.
Yeah.
It goes on in other countries, too. Apparently, it started in London.
And
it's not very old, either. It's been going on 3-4 years.
And the idea is to turn people on to reading.
Right. Promote good literature. It's been said that you're not the same person when you finish a good book as you were when you started it.
Right.
Books change you. They entertain you, and they inform you, and they make you think.
Yeah. I had absolutely no idea about this event until JR came to town and was telling me about it. And then last night, finding out about this World Book Night, the list, you have the list in the book there, the list is some of the great literary works of all time, and they picked the Tender Bar to be one of these books.
Right. They're a combination of both classic literature, like one from Mark Twain, A Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court,
right,
to totally contemporary books, many of which, Bossy Pants,
right,
Tina Fey, and then Devil in a Blue Dress by Walter Mosley. He's a crime writer,
right,
crime novelist.
Right. And then JR with the Tender Bar. Now, I know you a little bit. You like to have a pint every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
The Tender Bar is new to you, too, in a sense.
I'm reading it right now. It's a great book, and JR is a wonderful writer. I'm enjoying it immensely.
You have to admit that I'm really the best part of the book, though.
And I just happened to come upon your chapter called McGraw when I was sitting out in the lobby waiting.
Yes.
And the one thing I thought was pretty interesting was he says you had a one-of-a-kind first name that prompted teasing and confusion.
He's embellishing it.
And he talks about your laugh, too.
That's bogus, too. So you're going to be somewhere. Do you want to tell us where you're going to be?
Yeah, well, I thought I would go to bookstores and libraries where people might be desperate for a good read,
Right.
Kidding. No, I mean, the book is about a boy growing up in a bar who he's finding refuge in the bar and friendships, and he's looking for a father figure, and he finds father figures in the bar, and so it's really just a no-brainer. I have to go to bars.
It's not a bad night. Do you want to tell people which bars you'll be attending tonight?
I'll probably start out in the West End. I've only got about 20 books to give out.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Probably the West End, down to Washington Avenue, over to Soulard, and I do like McGurk's, and I do like the Royale, which is on South Kings Highway.
Sure, yeah.
And I do like O'Malley's Irish Pub in Benton Park.
So you're going to go up to strangers and say, hey,
and I do, go ahead.
Here's a book. Read it. Here's a book. Would you like to read a good book?
I did street talk for so long, for over 20 years. And,
right.
I have a way of scoping out people and, kind of assessing their character. And I have to, I have to decide if I think that they look like they might be in need of a good book, and would they read the book? But here's the other thing. If I give 20 books to 20 people, they read it, they pass it on, it gets a long shelf life. It has legs.
Yeah.
Then 40, and then 80, maybe, then 160 people read these books.
No, it's a great idea, and to get people to read, and they pick some great stories, and if people enjoy reading, or people who don't enjoy reading might find a book they would otherwise never pick up. It's great. William Stage, our guest, your book, Not Waving, Drowning. What are those two book signings again?
May 4th, Saturday, Big Sleep Books on Euclid Avenue. My friend Ed King runs that, and that's from 1 to 3. And then over in Alton, Illinois, 2 weeks later, May 18th, Second Reading Bookstore on Broadway, down by the river.
And to find out more,
1 to 3.
WilliamStage.com?
Right.
WilliamStage.com. Thanks. Have fun tonight. And
thanks a lot.
Raise a pint for Uncle Charlie tonight, will you?
You bet.
All right, good. 8:32 here on the Big 550.